Hey guys, it's J Star Wars 360 here, still adjusting myself at the beginning of videos, and I'm here with some movie news for you guys. Now, this is different from, this is movie news that minor news that happens that, not the internet's explaining about, but news nonetheless, news that I want to give my 2 cents about, news that, may or may not have been talked about on pretty much it. News that AMC movie discussion, which is, I think, better than pretty much it, although that's a debate for another time, may or may not discuss, but it's news that I found interesting and I want to talk about. So I'll have a table of contents, as usual, saying like when each news is, so if you just care about certain news, you can skip to that. Alright, here we go. So first off, we have Illumination Entertainment, who has announced their lineup for upcoming movies. Now, let me just look up the dates real quick. Call me lazy, but I didn't look up the dates of these movies. Oh, here it is. Found the article. Okay. So Illumination Entertainment, the guys who've made Despicable Me movies, have announced 2 movies that they have coming out in 2017. Now, if you don't know what their lineup is already, there is a Minions movie coming in 2015, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the 2 films they just recently announced. One of which is one I've kind of guessed was going to happen, and then the other is one that I also kind of guessed was happening, but really pisses me off. But that's just my opinion. In case you don't know, Illumination Entertainment has announced that 2 movies they have coming out in 2017. The first is Despicable Me 3, which as of right now is coming out June 30th, 2017. And then later that year, they have Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, both of these movies have just made me lose faith in Illumination Entertainment even more, for a couple of reasons. First off, let's start with Despicable Me 3. It's a cash grab. I mean, it's clear that they're just making these for money. I mean, if you saw my Despicable Me 2 review, you know I don't care much about it. Like, I just feel like they're cranking these out just for money, and I don't know. Despicable Me 2 feels more like a direct-to-video plot than an actual sequel. And I'm worried the third one's going to be more the same. Like, I don't know. It just feels like they're making these for money. And not to say that other studios don't. Like, every studio hopes to make money. But, I mean, I feel like that's, like, all they care about is making money. Like, they don't care about making a good product. Like, it just seems like they're more content with just making Despicable Me movies in hopes people see them. Now, I mean, on one end, and Grace did point this out, beyond the trailer pointed this out, which is that they're spacing them out, so it's like in 2 years we get, in summer 2015, we get, they're spaced out, so Despicable Me 1 came out in 2010, then the sequel came out in 2013, so it was a 3-year gap, then Minions is coming out in 2015, and then Despicable Me 3 comes out in 2017, so it'll be like 4 years between 2 and 3, and 2 years between the 2 and Minions and 3. So, which I guess is kind of nice, but at the same time, which I guess is kind of smart and ensures that people don't get sick of it really quickly. But at the same time, it's like it's still a cash grab. I mean, the fact that they have a whole franchise planned out, like they don't even know what. I don't even think they know what it's going to be about. They just know they're going to make one. Just shows that I think they just care about money. And as of right now, I mean, yes, Illumination Entertainment has done other films, but Despicable Me is what they're known for and what's going to sell. And it just really disappoints me to see that they have to stoop this level. They have this one really good film, and they're just going to milk it and milk it and milk it. Now, the other film is The Grinch, which pisses me off more than Despicable Me, because Grinch is based off of a really, really good the story of The Grinch, which is a story I really enjoyed, and it doesn't need an adaptation. It already has one. It's perfect, which is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which One of my favorite Christmas movies. I loved it. I mean, they aired on Cartoon Network every year, and I used to watch it every year. I mean, if it's on, I'd probably still watch it. I really enjoy it. I mean, I don't, and also, there's already also, so why do you need another one? The original's a classic. It's fine. You don't need to rehash it. And also, there's already been a rehash, and it sucked. It was the Jim Carrey version. Like, it added all this stuff in there that did not need to exist, unnecessary backstory. Like, watch Nostalgia Critic's review of How the Grinch Stole Christmas if you don't believe me. So, now we're going to have 3 Grinch movies. And I already know it's going to suck. You know why? Because I saw the Lorax. And Lorax sucked. And I'll have a link in the description to my written review of the Lorax. But trust me when I say, it sucks. And it really bothers me with Illumination Entertainment. Because can they come up with something original? Like, outside of Despicable Me, I mean, they haven't made anything original. I mean, maybe Despicable Me was based off of a book or something, you know, kind of like how Shrek was based off a book. But point is, it's either been sequels or unoriginal stories. Like, they haven't made anything. And it baffles me that Animat just praises Illumination Entertainment as much as he does. Because outside Despicable Me 1, they haven't done anything that great. You know, and I don't get why Animat hates Sony Pictures so much. I mean, yes, their films aren't great, but... you know, at least with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Hotel Transylvania, at least their films are a bit more creative and they aren't milking their franchises. They're just content with making little children's entertainment. And they have an original children's film called Hotel Transylvania. Plus, they have Aardman, who actually knows how to make good movies. And yet, for some reason, Sony Pictures didn't renew a new contract with them and let the 3-year contract run out. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to either of those movies. Alright, next up, there's a new release date for Ant-Man. Again, if you go into IMDb, you can check this yourself. I'm not going to bother putting release dates. I'm not going to bother putting a source for something you could just go onto IMDb and clearly see, which is that Ant-Man is a new release. It's not that much. It's just really being released 2 weeks earlier than it originally was. So, again, it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, it's cool that we're going to get it a little earlier, but at the same time, it's come out in July, and there's a lot of blockbusters coming out, so... I don't know. We'll see. It's a long ways off. Next one is something that really annoys... Actually, you know, I'll save that for later. Next, I probably should have mentioned that... Oh, man, I suck at this, baby. So, let's just stay in Marvel news for a second. Again, I'll have a link to this source, but Stan Lee has confirmed that he's not going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy. Stan Lee did not create Guardians of the Galaxy, so he thought it wouldn't be appropriate for him to have a cameo in it. Which, I mean, I'm disappointed in those, because I always look forward to the Stan Lee cameos. I mean, there's a bunch of things I look forward to when I go to see a Marvel movie. Stan Lee cameos are one of them. What I look for in the others could be an entirely separate video, but you know, it's reasonable enough. Makes sense. But I still hope there's a cameo. I mean, by someone. I mean, look at X-Men First Class. I mean, that movie, Stan Lee wasn't in that one, but there was a cameo, and that cameo was really funny, and it more than made up for it. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen First Class yet, but if you have, you probably know what cameo I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen it, you can probably guess what cameo it is. But I still hope we get some sort of cameo. Now, I looked on IMDb. Apparently, originally there was going to be an Iron Man cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy. But, you know, but they had to cancel it because while they were working on the movie, Robert Downey Jr.'s contract was still being worked on, and they didn't know whether or not he was going to be reprising his role as Iron Man. So they just wrote it out just to be safe. But, you know, they can always But now these Iron Man, they can always redo it. I mean, you know, there's been cases where filmmakers have come back and reshot a scene, like the Avengers, the shawarma scene. That was shot months after they had wrapped up shooting. Like, I think they shot it like a month before the movie was done. Or for Dark World, like they shot additional Loki scenes after they were done shooting because once Avengers came out, they suddenly became aware of how popular Loki was. But I hope there is some sort of cameo because, you know, all the past 2 Marvel movies, minor spoiler if you haven't seen them, but There's always a cameo of another Avenger. Iron Man 3, end credits, you got to see the Hulk, and then Thor Dark World, we had a Captain America cameo, which was really funny. So, again, disappointed with the Stan Lee cameo, but look, we have a bunch of Marvel movies coming out. Two of which I know for a fact Stan Lee is going to be in them. Although, unfortunately, I've kind of know what the cameos are, because one was a deleted... Winter Soldier, there was a deleted scene from the Avengers that they love so much that they're going to use in Winter Soldier, and that scene did have the Stan Lee cameo. And then Amazing Spider-Man 2, I was looking on images of the film, and unfortunately I saw Stan Lee in one of them, so I know when that cameo occurs as well. And he already confirmed that he's not in Days of Future Past, and I highly doubt he's going to be in Big Hero 6. But who knows? Again, it's a minor thing, but it doesn't really matter. The next thing is something I should have mentioned earlier. Because it's animation news as well, and I probably should have mentioned my animation news together and then my Marvel news, but I wasn't thinking, which is that, in case you don't know, there's an animated film out called The Nut Job, and they've already confirmed there's going to be a sequel for it in late January of 2016, which really bothers me, and I haven't seen the movie yet, and that bothers me, and I'll explain why it bothers me. For a couple of reasons. One, it just shows that they don't care about anything except money. Like they just they have a franchise plan. The movie has been out for a week. It's gotten terrible reviews. It's doing a bit bad. It's still doing alright. It made money at the box office. It hasn't done that well at the box office. So, it's done better than it could have otherwise because of Martin Luther King Day. But it hasn't been a financial hit, and yet they don't even know whether or not it's going to do well, and they already have a sequel plan. They don't even know if this film is going to be a hit and people are going to be interested in a second one, and they already have plans for it. And don't say they just came up with it just now. No, it's 2 years away. I'm sorry, but it takes more than 2 years to make a movie. Unless you're really lazy. And then if you're releasing a movie within 2 years of each other, you need to have known that in advance. I'm going to talk a bit more about this when I do my How to Train Your Dragon 2 review, but they went into How to Train Your Dragon 2 knowing they're going to do How to Train Your Dragon 3, so obviously they must have known. So obviously that those two are planned because they were 2 years apart. And if you know anything about animation, there's a writing process, there's an animation process, there's story. Animation takes a long time, okay? And writing as well. You can't do it in 2 years, so you need to have known it well in advance, either that or half-assed it. So they must have known about this well in advance. Especially if you're cranking out movies in a franchise every year like Planes is. But yeah, I really don't care for it. So yeah, that's all my movie news. If you like my channel, please give me a thumbs up, dislike, and you know what I said. Dislike, comment, subscribe, and keep it right here if you want to see more videos by me. And if you want to see other movie news, watch Pretty Much It, even though if you see my Pretty Much It video, you already know I think. Also check out Amy Sweet News because they're really good. Yeah, so this is JStars360 signing out. Have a great day.